Hello, third graders. This week's math lesson is on fractions. So we're just learning the basics of fractions this week. So some basic things to start understanding fractions would be knowing that a fraction is an equal part of a shape. So if you have a square and you break it into equal parts, one piece or a few pieces would be a fraction. A fraction is one part of something. You might know some fractions like half, or a third, or 1/10 like go noodle, or 1/4, a quarter of something. To read a fraction, you need to know that the top number is called the numerator and the bottom number is called the denominator. And the easiest way to remember that is that down starts with D and denominator starts with D. So the denominator is down, it's the one on the bottom. Here is a large rectangle. I have broken this into 4 smaller rectangles. Do these 4 smaller rectangles have equal areas? Well, they look like they have equal areas, but we can find out for sure by putting them on top of each other to see if they're the same. So I'm going to move this up. Take this piece here. Those look to be the same. Each piece fits perfectly on top of the other piece. So those are the 4 pieces. This rectangle was broken into fourths. So how many equal parts? There are 4 equal parts in this rectangle. How much of this rectangle is shaded? Well, I see that there's 4 parts and only one part is shaded. So 1/4, which you can represent by writing 1/4 or a 1/4, the words 1/4. You can even call this 1/4. Fourths can be called quarters, and the best way to remember this is thinking about a dollar. A dollar can be split into 4 quarters. So you can have 1 whole dollar, or you could have 4 quarters, each equals 1 whole dollar. So this can be 1/4, could be 1/4. How many equal parts in this rectangle? 1, 2, 3. There are 3 equal parts, and we call these parts thirds. So when something is broken into 3 equal parts, it's called thirds. How much of this shape is shaded? Well, out of the 3 pieces, 1, 2 pieces are shaded. That gives us 2/3, which you can write the words 2/3, or 2/3, or 2/3. All of those are 2/3. Each piece of the rectangle is 1/3 of the whole rectangle. So if we look at that again, if only one part was shaded, we would have 1/3. Because 2 parts are shaded, we have 2/3, or 2 out of 3 pieces. If we break those thirds that we have in half, we get sixths. So you'll see right here are the lines we used for thirds, and all I did was make a line down the middle here to get 6 equal pieces. So each piece of this rectangle makes up 1/6, which can be written in these ways. If I were to shade one piece here, 1 out of 6 pieces would be shaded, or 1/6. How much of this shape is shaded? The best way to figure this out is by counting the colored pieces. 1, 2, 3. 3 pieces out of 6 are shaded. So the answer is 3/6, 3 out of 6 pieces. If 1 was shaded, we would have 1/6. If 2 were shaded, we would have 2/6. Same with 4. It would be 4/6 or 5/6, or we could even color them all and call it 6/6. As you break a shape into more pieces, the fraction units, the pieces, become smaller. So if you look at thirds, these pieces are bigger than the fourths. The fourths pieces are bigger than the sixths pieces, and so on. Another way that you can look at fractions is by using a fraction bar. So when I'm thinking of fraction bars, my favorite thing to think of is a candy bar. This is what one whole is. This whole thing is the bar. I have this bar represented in different ways. So the whole thing is colored, that's one whole. Here, only half of it is colored, so that's 1/2. Here it's broken into 3 pieces and 1 is colored, so that would give us 1/3. Here we have 4 pieces, 1 is colored, so that gives us 1/4. And here we have 6 pieces, and 1 is colored, which is 1/6. How many pieces equal 1 whole? Well, when you break the fraction bar into 2 pieces, you get 1/2 plus another 1/2 will give you 1 whole. That's the entire thing. If you're looking at thirds, you have 1 whole fraction bar broken into 3 pieces, so you'd have to add 1/3 3 times to get 1 whole. Now here we've broken this one into 4 pieces, so we would add 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 to get 1 whole. So there's 4 1/4 pieces to get 1 whole. And lastly, we have sixths. So this whole fraction bar was broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. Each piece is 1/6 of the fraction bar. So we would add 1/6 6 times, and that would give us 1 whole. That's just a basic lesson today on modeling fractions and some basics of fractions. You'll be learning more about fractions in the coming weeks. Feel free to rewatch this video many times in order to gain a better understanding and even draw some fractions of your own at home. Have a great day.